All right, y'all, it's another one. Getting into the groove of posting more. Gonna do this one while driving home from the gym. Put in that leg day. Put in that time, that effort, that discomfort. Put in the sweat. Put in the focus. They played some hits through the gym speakers today. Sometimes I just listen to house music now, just instrumentals, and not get focused and thrown into the words, so I could focus on my form more. But yeah, they had some hits, and so I was like, you know what? I haven't heard this song in a while. Let me stop my music so I could listen to that real quick, and then get on with my workout. And then little by little, I was easing into my workout, just getting deeper and more focused into it. Then pretty soon I was now listening to the words and then like really integrated with the workout, which is funny. Other times it was just basically, more focused on the music than my actual form and my reps and how I'm feeling and my intensity in it. So yeah, it's hit or miss. It's all over the place. The mind knows what it's doing when it doesn't want to do something. But, the heart knows. It's like, hey, we got to do this work. We got to put in this work. You know what it is. Like, it's crazy. If you want to grow something in a garden, vegetables, fruit, whatever you're growing, out in the yard, piece of land, like, you actually got to put in work to grow something. But to grow weeds, man, that thing just grows automatically. You got to put no effort. It just grows automatically. Ready to just eat up all your crops, all your seeds, all your plants, all your fruit, all your vegetables, everything. Without needing to do anything, just grows. So that's what it is with our mind as well, our bodies, our emotions. It's ready to bring us down into just misalignment, just misguidance, confusion. I mean, you name it. We got to stay on top of it. That's our job. So the topic, while I was in the gym thinking, I was like, all right, I'm going to record from the gym in here to back home, get my meal in at home. This morning, I did a little bit of journaling, a little bit of reflection time, went through some files, wrote some stuff down that I haven't seen in a couple months, just to get back into the mindset, back into rhythm, back into flow. And I realized, I'm like, there's a lot more things I need to clean out. Like, there's a lot of things I need to throw away, or I need to declutter, or stuff I thought I was going to use within the next couple of months, and it's been years, and it's just piling up. So I had to be honest with myself and go through this inventory and make a list and see what could go, what could get donated, what can get thrown away, or what needs to get used and put into action. So yeah, I was just thinking, going over inventory. What is our inventory? Now, I'm not perfect, but I'm doing a lot better. And today was a good reflection review on that subject. I'm pretty good with my wardrobe right now, but at a point, I was buying shirts that didn't fit well, that I thought I was gonna wear because they look cool, and I never ended up wearing them. Just piled that up. Things I grew out of, but I'm gonna use it for that one occasion in case I need it, and that occasion never arose, never presented itself, and it just hung in the closet. Just a bunch of things, not just with the wardrobe, but it could be shoes, it could be accessories, tools, it could be just hobby arts and crafts stuff, a bunch of things. And what I realized is like what are we really using and what are we really focused on? Is there a correlation? And I know for a fact there is. If your personal space and belongings are not in order, your mind, your internal state is also not in order. I remember being at a gas station, pouring gas, and the car next to me pulls up. The lady gets out, starts pouring gas, opens her passenger door, and she's looking for something, and I could see all the crap she ever owns is on her literally passenger side of the car. And then I look in the back, and of course there's more boxes and stuff in the back. But it was the front right seat was literally her drawers, her her filing cabinet, her mail, probably a bunch of other crap that, you know, she's just hoarding. And that literally told me, it's just like, this is not the woman you would want to date or suggest to any guy. I'm like, hey, you should date this woman because, you know, and no offense to her, you know, no offense to her. There's probably some things, look, listen to this. There's probably some things she needs to be clear about, get clarity on. There's some things she needs to let go of. Not just physical. Think about this. Not just physical stuff, but emotional stuff. Emotional stuff against herself, against other people, against scenarios, whatever, the list goes on. The question again is, are all these things in her car literally a representation of who she is? Obviously she's not organized. Obviously she is not clear. She needs to work on some clarity on some things. It actually reminded me of me. And I'll tell you how. It reminded me of me working on a bunch of things and going nowhere. Like not having a visual path of like, let me work on this and then work towards this and enjoy that process. It just seemed scattered. I was scattered looking here, then doing this, and I'm gonna do that. And just go in circles, looking up nonsense, looking up unnecessary things, and you know, being distracted by entertainment and things that you think you need to know, but really you don't need to know. It's just excuse from taking any action. And that's a normal thing. So again, it's like we have all these things, and that is also taking our attention. That is also taking up space in our mind. That is just an inventory racking up in our mind, holding us back from taking action. Because like now we're like, hey, I'm gonna take action on this. And when you start, I'm like, oh, what about this? And what about that? Oh, I can't forget about this, and this is pending. And you got all these things scattered, and basically you get nothing done. And I believe that's the story of all of us, right? Then we have our phone in our hand, and we're probably going down the rabbit hole of Instagram, of TikTok, of this, of that, and then, you know, nothing gets done again. And this is from me, this is from other people who I've spoken to who say the same thing, how they get distracted, how they procrastinate, how they avoid taking the action they know they got to take the action on. So is your inventory supporting you? Is your inventory really in order for you to take action in the path you need to go? And that's a question you got to ask yourself. I asked myself again this morning. Like this stuff, especially when I went through it, I already know I got to get rid of some stuff. I already know some things need to be clarified and organized. I already know some of these things are affecting me, and I'll tell you why. Everything vibrates. Everything. Everything has a vibration. Everything is tied to something. Everything is somehow, some way related to a frequency that it makes you feel a certain way. It makes you operate a certain way. It makes you basically feel a certain way within, take you to a certain place eternally. I'll give you an example. If you have arachnophobia, the fear of spiders, and your room was decorated of photos and statues and monuments of spiders, you think you're gonna get any work done in there? You think your office or your room or whatever filled with those artifacts and memorabilia and supporting of the species, you know, no disrespect to that species, can you really operate at your highest potential when it's literally filled with your fears? Even in a nice way, you will be bothered. So take into account the stuff you have is affecting you, whether you're aware of it or not. You have an emotional attachment to it. You have an emotional, mental schedule, affiliation with it that you identify with. So it's very important to declutter, to let go, to clarify. Something we got to do with our personal space, our car, our garage, our drawers, our closets, our desk, our computers, everything holding us up, holding us back. And yeah, we clean it up, and guess what? We got to stay organized. We got to stay on top of it. It will declutter. Now, let's take it back to the positive side. Let's say your favorite inspiring animal because you grew up by the beach. Let's just say it's the orca, that whale, the killer whale, the orca. You love that animal. You love how it looks. You love how those big old white like things above the eyes makes it look like it's the eyes, but it's not. The orca, you know, they're smart, they're powerful, they're this, they're that. If your room was decorated with monuments, posters, statues of the orca, you would be inspired. You would be in flow. You would be in the zone. You would be coasting with the waves of the water. You'd be getting work done. That's what I'm trying to say. Everything you own should bring you into a flow state. Everything you have should be organized to where you know what it is and what it means. And this is something I go after all the time. Do I fall off? Of course I do. I fall off. Of course some things mount up. Of course some things, you know, get re-clarified and re-promised, and then that promise never gets fulfilled. But you know what this channel is about is that we get better. We get better with our belongings. We get better with the things we own. We give it more meaning. We use it. We're more aware of its maintenance, of its usage. We have more care. We put out that frequency, that energy, that vibration into the universe that says, hey, I'm responsible with my stuff. The stuff that I own doesn't own me. I own it. I'm ready to discard it when I know I don't need it. When I know I don't need to use it. It doesn't take up any space. As a matter of fact, I'm using it up so it can help me out advance. Get in my flow, put me in the groove, get me work done, work me towards my vision. That's what it's there for. So, I could go on and on. I can go through the closet and say, hey, everything you own should make you feel a certain way, should make you feel like you, your best self when you put it on. If it's not, get rid of it. There's probably some things, some hobbies that said, hey, I'm gonna do this hobby, but you know what? It's not your main hobby. It's not your main goal. It's not your main vision, and it's just a distraction from your main one. So let's get honest with ourselves. We gotta go through our inventory and get clear. Get clarity. Make a commitment. Let go. We gotta do this process over and over and over again. So, this video on inventory is about getting into flow, staying in flow, staying on top of your things, and you know what? Have some gratitude for the stuff you have. A lot of these people in this world do not have access to the amount of stuff that we have. We take it for granted. We misuse things. We don't maintain them. Hey, I'm the first to raise my hand up to say, yeah, that's me. But I'm here to get better. I'm here to take action. I'm here to change my reality. And, you know, if you're here, hey, let's get on it. You know, I appreciate you watching. I appreciate you getting into this groove and this perspective with me. Hope this helps. And let's take action. On to the next. Peace.